The autopsy report didn't look like it belonged to a human being. It looked like a physics equation gone wrong. The medical examiner found fat inside the blood vessels. Not from a burger, not from cholesterol. The fat had dropped out of the blood like oil separating from water. They found the brain, but they didn't find it in the skull. On November 5th, 1983, 4 men didn't just die. They were erased in less than 1 second. They went from being biological organisms to something else. This isn't a story about a killer. This is a story about what happens when you break the law of physics. The North Sea, 1983. The Byford Dolphin oil rig is a city on stilts. It screams metal, oil, and money. But the real work isn't happening on the deck. It's happening underneath it. Deep down in the freezing black water, this is the world of saturation diving. To work at these depths, you can't just hold your breath. The pressure down there is so high, it would crush a normal pair of lungs like a soda can. So, the divers have to be pressurized. They live in a steel tube, a hyperbaric chamber, for weeks at a time. Inside that tube, the air pressure is heavy, 9 times thicker than the air you are breathing right now. It changes their voices. They sound like chipmunks. It changes their chemistry. Nitrogen is toxic, so they breathe helium and oxygen. Edwin Coward, Roy Lucas, Bjørn Bergersen, and Truls Hellevik. These 4 men are the divers. They are currently resting in their steel cocoon on the deck of the rig. They are safe, or so they think. They have finished their shift. They are just waiting for the next rotation. Outside the chamber, 2 Tinders, assistants, are helping them. William Kremen and Martin Saunders. It is 4 a.m. The divers are in the chamber. The Tinders are in the tunnel connecting the chamber to the diving bell. It is a routine procedure. They have done it 100 times. Disconnect the bell, seal the chamber, go to bed. But at 4 a.m., fatigue is a poison. William Kremen makes a mistake. Or maybe the equipment fails. But one single clamp, a piece of metal no bigger than a shoe, is about to change everything. Physics is usually slow. Gravity pulls you down, heat warms you up. But sometimes, physics is instant. In the diving world, there is a rule. Never open the clamp while the pressure is unequal. Inside the chamber, 9 atmospheres of pressure. Outside the chamber, 1 atmosphere, or normal air. The door between them is closed, but it isn't sealed yet. William looks at the gauge. Maybe he misreads it. Maybe he hears a command that wasn't given. He reaches out. He spins the locking mechanism. He releases the clamp. The universe hates a vacuum, but it hates a pressure difference even more. Nature tries to balance the scales instantly. The air inside the chamber, 9 times denser than the outside, explodes outward. It's not just the wind. It's a solid wall of air moving at the speed of sound. The heavy diving bell, weighing tons, is blasted away like a toy. William is killed instantly by the flying metal. Martin is thrown backward, shattered but alive. But inside the chamber? Inside the chamber, the nightmare is just starting. This is where the story gets hard to hear. When you open a bottle of soda, bubbles rush to the top. That's gas escaping pressure. Now imagine that soda is your blood. The 4 divers didn't suffocate. They didn't drown. Their blood literally boiled. The nitrogen and helium dissolved in their tissues instantly turned into gas. Fat, which is normally liquid in the body, solidified and clogged every vein. 3 of the divers, Coward, Lucas, and Bergersen, died instantly. Their bodies couldn't handle the expansion. But the 4th diver, Truls, he was standing right next to the door. The door was slightly ajar, just a crack. When the pressure released, that crack became a vacuum cleaner with the power of a jet engine. The opening was only 60 centimeters wide, about the size of a pizza box. Truls was pulled through it. The autopsy report noted that his body was fragmented. The force was so violent that the soft tissue was ripped from the bone. His organs were found meters away on the deck. It happened in a fraction of a second. His brain didn't even have time to register pain. He was there, and then he was gone. The silence after the blast was deafening. The rig crew rushed to the scene. They saw the carnage, but then came the second tragedy, the cover-up. The oil company didn't want to admit that their equipment was old. They didn't want to admit that the crew was overworked, working 16-hour shifts. So, they blamed the dead man. They said William Cramen, the tender who died, was irresponsible. They called it human error. For decades, the families of the divers lived with that shame. They were told their fathers and husbands were killed because of a mistake. It took 26 years. It wasn't until 2009, after endless lawsuits and the formation of the North Sea Divers Alliance, that the truth was finally recognized. The equipment was faulty. The procedures were unsafe. The families were finally paid compensation, but money doesn't put a body back together. We like to think we have conquered the earth. We drill holes in the ocean floor. We fly high into space. But the Byford Dolphin is a reminder. We are soft. We are fragile sacks of water and bone. And we are only alive because the atmosphere decides to let us live. One clamp, one mistake, and the rules of biology are rewritten by the rules of pressure. It makes you wonder, how thin is the wall between you and the void right now? The survivors and families fought for 26 years to clear their names. Do you think justice delayed is still justice? Or was it a little too late? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories about the dark side of industry, hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.